Jackie the fly lawyer, he gon' keep you out of jail. Prosecutor fill a box over in 12. Keep your mouth closed, cause it ain't nothing to tell. You know Mr. Patterson gon' keep you out that cell. Yeah. Jackie the fly lawyer, he gon' keep you out of jail. You know Mr. Patterson gon' keep you out that cell. All the judges know his name when he walk through. Fly lawyer, the only one to talk to. Heard your face 20 years, but son, you ain't do. Better call JP, you know he the truth. Over 1,000 jury trials and he still winning. Might have seen him out of traffic riding in the Bentley. Yeah, I asked him how he do it, he said it just sent me. I asked him how many he won, he said way too many. Miguel Wilson on him, keep him looking flee. Got the custom-made suit fitted to the T. One thing sure about him, he ain't gon' take a plea. Like a bird in the cage, he gon' set you free. Got them red bottoms on when he stepping through. Got the flawless diamonds all around his neck too. He ain't lost a case yet, so he undefeated. He the one you call when you think you can't beat it. You know Nora doing all the paperwork for him. Staying up late night researching for him. It ain't just a law firm, it's a dream team. Gotta keep the James hat on every time you see him. Jackie the fly lawyer, he gon' keep you out of jail. Prosecutor fill a box over in 12. Keep your mouth closed, cause it ain't nothing to tell. You know Mr. Patterson gon' keep you out that cell. Yeah. Jackie the fly lawyer, he gon' keep you out of jail. You know Mr. Patterson gon' keep you out that cell. All the judges know his name when he walk through. When he walk through, fly lawyer, that's the only one to talk to. The only one to talk to. Heard your face 20 years, son, you ain't do. Son, you ain't do. Better call JP, you know he the truth. You know he the truth.
Yes, boys. Welcome, man. The fly lawyer, aka Mr. Or should I say Mr. Jackie, the fly lawyer Patterson. Welcome.
I'm him.
Yeah, you. But first and foremost, man, thank you so much for taking time out your busy schedule. I know this is football season, so not outside of your professional life, I know you're a big football fan, so I definitely want to take time out for taking time out on a Sunday.
My pleasure.
Join us. So let's start from the beginning. So your real official name, of course, is Mr. Jackie Fly Lawyer Robinson. That you actually changed legally.
Jackie the Fly Lawyer Patterson.
Patterson. All right. So let's start from the beginning. You're from is it Hogansville, Georgia?
Hogansville, Georgia, a little small town about an hour and a half south of Atlanta. I was born in a house there, and we moved to Atlanta when I was about 6 months old.
Wow. So you pretty much grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, right?
I sure did.
Yes,
I went to nursery, elementary, middle school, and high school here in Atlanta.
Wow. So how was Mr. Jackie as a kid? I was always the one where I always wanted to have fun. That was very, very important. I took my education serious, but at the same time, you gotta have a balance. I just believe that if you're not having fun in life, you're really not living. Yeah, that's true. So as far as your household, you grew up in a mother and father, mom, dad, brothers, sisters, stuff like that?
I have one brother and one sister. My brother, he's now deceased. He died of prostate cancer back in 2020 at the same time that I was in the hospital with COVID. I haven't. Yeah, that's correct. My brother died while I was actually in the hospital.
Oh, man.
And thank you. And I have an older sister who's 10 years older than myself.
Okay.
I grew up in a one-parent household. Even though my mother raised me, my father was always in my life. My father was always at my elementary, middle, high school, college graduation, law school graduation. He was the best man at my wedding. So I've always had a father in my life, even though he didn't live with us. He lived in Philadelphia.
Okay. Nice. That's good, man. That's nice to know. All right. So high school, I think is it Booker T. Washington High School?
Booker T. Washington Bulldogs.
Okay, Bulldogs. Okay, the Bulldogs. All right. So right out of high school, you joined the Army. So? I sure did. After I left high school early. I had all of my hours, so I left high school when I was 17 and
Yeah.
joined the 82nd Airborne Division at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. So I jumped out of airplanes in the Army for 3 years.
Wow. What was that? What was that experience like?
Well, I'll admit, the first time I jumped out, they had to kick me out. Because what happens is that when you get in that door, the jump master will say, go. And if you hesitate, they kick you out. And so I got kicked out on my first time.
Hey, obviously it worked out for you.
Yes, I did that for 3 years. Absolutely.
Wow. All right, so you joined the Army, and at what point you decide, you know what, I think I want to become a lawyer, or I want to, pretty much go to law school?
Absolutely. But I did a few other things before law school.
Okay.
I was actually an Atlanta police officer.
Wow.
After I got out the Army, I joined the Atlanta Police Department.
Okay.
So I was a police officer while I got my undergrad and my master's. I was a police officer in the city of Atlanta patrolling the streets.
Wow.
And then once I got my master's, I applied to Texas Southern University, Thurgood Marshall School of Law in Houston, Texas. So I went out to Houston from 1988 to 1991 in law school.
Wow. But your resume is so extensive. I got to really take time and actually jump the police officer part, because the resume, like I said, is so extensive. So when you decided to become a police officer, what was that? Was that something you were looking for a job, or is that something you really wanted to do? As far as like, to be a police officer, that's something that you really set out to do, or was the opportunity that you?
It's interesting. I've always known what I wanted to do in life since about the 7th grade. What happened? I met people that had already had those careers, so I knew I wanted to do each and every one of them.
Okay.
My uncle was an Army soldier, so I knew I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
I had a friend that was an Atlanta police officer who came to our house on a regular basis, who was a friend of my mom's.
Yeah.
So I knew I wanted to do that. Also, Perry Mason was, you may not be old enough to remember Perry Mason.
I remember Perry Mason.
So I knew I wanted to be that kind of lawyer.
Okay.
And so I just always knew that what I wanted to do in life. So being a police officer was part of the journey, because I knew that once I was in the Army, I applied for the police department while I was still a soldier. And then once I got
easy transition.
That's correct. So I got accepted as a police officer while I had 6 months still left in the Army. So once I joined the police department, I was still getting paid because I turned in my Army vacation time. So I had 2 checks coming in.
Wow, very smart. You know what I noticed too? Because I did some research, man. I said, you know what? Let me really, to be honest with you, at surface level, I was like, wait a minute, this guy really a lawyer. So I started digging, and then I was like, wow. One thing I noticed, man, you're not just ambitious, you're visionary. You can actually kind of visualize how your life was going to turn out. Well, I want to turn out, but you pretty much looked and say, okay, these are the steps I need to take. Become a police officer. Join the Army, become a police officer, go to law school, and of course, you were the judge.
Yes,
and you're the only lawyer, I should say, in Georgia that was a police officer, a judge. I'll let you finish it. I don't want to mess it up.
I'm the only. Georgia has been around since 1733, and that's a long time. Yes. I am the only lawyer in the history of Georgia that's ever been a police officer, a police chief, a municipal court judge, a state court judge, superior court judge, and prosecutor. And I hope that someone comes behind me and be the second one. But wow. I really hope that happens, but it took this long to be the first, so I don't know how long it would take to be the second.
Wow, that's impressive. That's impressive. At what point did you realize you were the first? At what?
It's interesting that you say that, because every time I captured another milestone, I would look to see if anyone had done those on record, because you have to see if anything is on record. That's how you determine.
Yes.
So there's no lawyer on record since 1733. So every time I accomplished it, I'm like, wait a minute. There have been a police officer that's been a lawyer. There has been a police officer that's been a judge. So those things, but there's never been one that's been a police chief and all 3 types of judges, as well as a prosecutor.
Wow. That's impressive, man. I give you a round of applause for that. Let me make sure my clap is working,
Thank you.
Yeah, that's really really impressive. Not only that, it actually gives you a serious advantage in the courtroom. Honestly,
Yes, it does, because when I'm doing my jury selection, it's interesting how I get these points, because you have to use everything to win. And so I'll tell the jury, I said, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I've had about 6 public offices that I've held. And the way you do it, and the judge can't shut you down, because generally you're not supposed to talk about your qualifications in jury selection. But the way I'm able to get around that is by saying, ladies and gentlemen, I've held 6 public offices, and I need to make sure that my client gets a fair trial. So I need to make sure none of you all have come before me in these 6 public positions. And that's and so while I'm talking about police officer, police chief, the jury's looking at me like, wow, this dude has done it all. So it builds instant credibility.
Yes. Wow. Yeah, that's really impressive, man. I got to say, that's very impressive. And you made a valid point, because now I'm thinking, if I'm a juror, like, man, especially even if I'm around your age bracket, I might ask myself, wait a minute, have I ever really had a situation where I met this guy somewhere along the line?
That's correct.
Wow. All right. So also, you have over 1,000 jury trials. Now that within itself is also impressive.
That is conservative. It's actually over 1,400 now, because I was 1,000 about 6 years ago.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, and the reason why I kind of touch base on that, because, as you know, most attorneys don't like to go to trial anyway. So
that is correct. And in fact, in a lawyer's 20-year career, and I've been doing this 32 years, in a lawyer's, the average number of jury trials is between 20 and 30 for a 20-year career. And I'm talking about a private attorney.
Yes.
And I've done over 1,400.
Yes. Wow. So is that how you like to go to trial, or you just?
I do. I love the battle of letting the judge know and letting the prosecutor know I am the one in the courtroom that needs to run the courtroom.
Yes. I actually went on YouTube, and I was looking at a case, I think probably like a year ago or so, with a particular situation in Georgia where a young man was, I think, charged for murder. But on YouTube, it pretty much shows you on trial doing your thing, actually working.
Yeah.
And yes, man, you definitely command that. You definitely know what you're doing. I'll say that. You definitely know what you're doing. I wouldn't be surprised if I see a TV show sometime in the future.
People have been asking me about that, but I enjoy so much about being in the courtroom. I'll be in the courtroom. I tell everybody that my office manager will be pushing me through the courthouse when I'm 120.
Wow.
That's how long I plan to practice.
Yeah. That's wow. All right. So where were we? So you became a police officer. You went to law school. What law school you went? It's in Texas.
Yes, Thurgood Marshall School of Law at Texas Southern University.
All right. So you graduated from law school, and then what happened after that?
I came back home about a week later, preparing for the bar exam. And while I was preparing for the bar exam, I was a radio gospel DJ here in Atlanta. Yes, I did. I was also a gospel DJ in law school as well. And so I was a DJ at night and went to law school during the day. So while studying for the bar exam, I was a DJ here. And at the same time, I ran for Atlanta City Council while I was waiting for my bar results.
Wow. See, I didn't get that one, man. But once again, man, your story, let me tell you something. Your story goes from chapter to chapter. Do you have a book? I know you think about a book sometime in the future.
That's everybody comes to me. Everything you're suggesting, people have already come to me. But as I said, I'm so happy in life. There's something about being in the courtroom, performing my songs, motorcycle riding, my nightlife. So when you're happy, you stay in your lane, it just works.
Yeah. All right, let's continue, because there's so much I want to ask you. So you were a gospel DJ, did the bar exam, obviously you passed. So what happened after that?
Well, when I was studying for the bar exam, I was an intern or a law clerk for an attorney named Michael Bergen here in Atlanta. Michael Bergen was a retired New York detective and then came to Georgia and took the bar exam and became a well-known criminal defense attorney. So I learned a lot from him because I also came in and interned with him in the summertime throughout my law school summers. So that's how I knew, from being a police officer and being with Michael Bergen, I knew that criminal law was going to be my bread and butter. And so once I passed the bar, I told Michael Bergen, I said, hey, I really have enjoyed working with you, but I have the mindset that if we have the same degree, why should I not have my own law practice?
Yeah. Makes sense.
And so I started my practice in 1992.
1992. Wow. So at what point you became a judge?
Great question. Let me tell you how that happened.
Yeah.
Fortunate for me, any position I've ever had was by just the grace of God. I never even applied for these positions. It just happened. So I was down in Greenville, Georgia, and I defend people all over the state. And all of a sudden, the mayor of Greenville, her name was Ruby Bird. She's deceased, rest her soul. She came to me and said, Attorney Patterson, I think I would like to replace my judge and make you my judge. I said, well, Mayor Bird, are you kidding? And she said, no. She said, be in my office at a certain time, and I'm going to swear you in. And lo and behold, I showed up in her office, and the judge that they had there at the time, I can't remember his name right now. He actually swore me in. I became his assistant judge, and then I became the chief judge when he retired.
Wow.
And so I was a judge in Greenville from 2000 to 2014. And then once I left there, I got appointed the very last judgeship by Mayor Kasim Reed in Atlanta. So I was an Atlanta Municipal Court judge and stayed there until another opportunity. And let me tell you how I got the Municipal Court judge. I was literally in court one day, and there was a judge I was before, and she said, you do know there's an opening for one spot for a part-time position with the Atlanta Municipal Court. And then she said, today is the deadline to apply. So I was like, oh, you kidding me? So I told the judge, I said, I've been a judge for 14 years. I'm just not really. She said, Jackie, I really think you need to apply. So I went back to my office, got online, applied. So in the process is that once you apply, you have to get an interview by the Judicial Nominating Commission.
Okay.
And that is like an 8 to a 12 person member. And so a year went by, I never got a call for my interview. So I said, well, clearly I didn't get the job. I didn't get the job.
Yeah, that's a long time.
So it turned out a year later, I get a letter in the mail from the commission that says you have been chosen to meet the mayor. So I'm like, whoa. Yeah. So and then when I saw the commission chairman in court shortly after that, I said, hey man, y'all didn't interview me. He said, well, Jackie, we all know you. We know you're qualified. Why did we need to interview you? So that really was it was warm to get that kind of comment from the commission chairman. So then I'm waiting to be interviewed with the mayor because obviously I'm not the only person that applied for the position.
Yeah.
And another year went by. I didn't hear from anyone. So I said, well, Jackie, clearly you didn't get the judgeship. And lo and behold, I go to my mailbox one day and there's a letter from Mayor Kasim Reed that says, congratulations, I have chosen you. So I never got interviewed by the commission and I never got interviewed by the mayor. So when I saw the mayor after that, I said, Mayor, I was waiting for my interview. He said, Jackie, we know you. You're the best qualified man for the job. So why do I need to interview? So it was unbelievably a wonderful experience.
Wow. As a judge, what's the one case that stood out after all those years, 14 plus years? What's the one case that you remember, like, it's still in your memory?
It was the most gut-wrenching case that I've had. Remember, I served as a municipal court judge, state court judge, and superior court judge. So while serving as a superior court judge, can I tell you how I got that position? Interesting how I got that position. Then I'll tell you about the case. Well, I got a call one day from the chief judge of Terrell County, Georgia. his daughter had a traffic ticket in Atlanta. And he called me up just randomly and said, hey, I'd like to hire you to represent my daughter. She got a traffic ticket. So I said, this is who now? He said, well, this is Judge Joe Bishop down in Terrell County. So clearly I wasn't about to charge a judge to represent his daughter. So I said, Judge, you don't owe me anything. I said, just give me your daughter's information. So when the court case came up, I went to court. I didn't know that the judge was coming with his daughter. So he came to Atlanta. I got the case resolved. And when I stepped out in the hallway, he said, if there's ever anything I could do for you, make sure you let me know. So I told him, I said, Judge, in fact, there's something you can do. I said, I've already been a municipal court judge. I've already been a state court judge. I would like to be a superior court judge. 3 weeks later, he was swearing me in.
What?
That's how I became a superior court judge. You tell me I have not been blessed.
Blessed is beyond, man.
Yes. And so I told him, I said, well, Judge, I said, now that I'm a superior court judge, I would like to have some trials as a judge, because obviously in municipal court, you don't have trials, not jury trials. So I wanted a jury trial. So he assigned me this child molestation case where a grandfather was accused of molesting his granddaughter, and the grandfather's wife allegedly covered it up. So that trial came before me. And after I heard the evidence, the jury found him guilty, of course. And then it was my job to sentence him. And I have to admit, I called him every name in the book before I gave him the maximum punishment. I think I gave him 85 years to serve.
Wow.
And I felt he deserved every bit of it. I have to admit that. And so I even told his wife she should have been arrested for covering it up, but they did not arrest her. Yes, that was the most gut-wrenching case I had as a judge. And to this day, he's deceased or he's still in prison because I gave him 85 years. Wow,
rightfully so. Rightfully so. Another question as far as being a judge, is it hard? Well, maybe let me answer this question. Is it hard to sentence someone to those long years? But what's the process like in your brain? Maybe I might ask it that way.
The way it works is that since I was a part-time judge for 20 years and a full-time criminal lawyer at the same time, I was able to decompartmentalize, meaning that my experience as a police officer, I am immune for the most part of being attached to the case. So when I'm defending someone, no matter what they're charged with, my goal is to win, but do it ethically, of course. But then as a judge, my job is to make sure that both sides play fair, the defense and the prosecution. But if that person is convicted, it is my job to dole out the appropriate punishment. So in my mind, when I'm serving as a judge and sentence this man to 85 years, my only thought process was I need to protect the citizens of this county and make sure he never see the light of day. So it didn't faze me because I'm able to go from defending someone to judging someone within seconds.
Yes. Makes sense. Plus you have all the facts displayed in front of you.
Yes.
So there's no emotions, so to speak, towards
That's correct.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, so let's move forward. So in 2020, you said unfortunately you got COVID, and your brother passed away around the same year. Once again, condolences on that. Around that time, you also kind of, I don't know the word reinvented yourself, because it seemed like you're always changing. You're always, rebranding yourself, so to speak. And I believe it was 2020 to 2021, you met the rapper Stunner.
That's Stunner. That's correct.
Stunner. So at that point, tell me what happened.
Let me tell you what happened. I got a call from Stunner that his brother needed a lawyer. Somebody referred Stunner to me. And his brother was facing 8 years in prison on a drug charge in Cobb County. And the prosecutor would not come off of that 8 years because of his background. When they hired me, not only did I get all of his felonies dismissed, but I got it reduced to a misdemeanor and got him 6 months in the county jail, which were reduced to 3 months in the county jail because you get a day for a day. So he was so happy. I told the judge, I said, Judge, can you give my client time to turn himself in to serve this 6 months. My client was so happy. He said, "No, Judge, I'm ready to go to jail today," because he knew he was not going to prison. So at that point, I told Stunner, I said, "Stunner, I said, man, I kept your brother out of jail. You got to write me a song." So he wrote a song. He wrote a song called "Win for You." And boy, was I surprised. It was amazing. And so now we're on our, right now we did "Win for You." He wrote "Keep You Out That Cell." Stunner wrote "Fly Lawyer Sauce." Stunner wrote "Maybach and Rolls Royce." And my latest song he wrote called "Come to the Fly Side." And believe it or not, we're now working on a new song that will be out in about 3 weeks. And I got to tell you what, I haven't revealed the name, but I'm gonna reveal it for the first time.
Oh yeah, exclusive. Okay.
For the first time. And the song is
first exclusive. Go ahead.
That's right. No one knows the name of the song but me and Stunner.
Okay.
But I'm gonna do it for Alonzo.
Appreciate that, boy. Appreciate that.
And the song is gonna be called "The Fly Lawyer, I'm Him," featuring Stunner.
Okay.
The Fly Lawyer, I'm Him, featuring Stunner.
Nice. And I know one thing for sure. Is going to be a video.
Yes, we always do a music video after the song. That is correct.
Yeah.
Because right now we have 3 music videos. We have a video to "Fly Lawyer Sauce." We have a video to the latest song, "Come to the Fly Side." And we have one for "Keep You Out That Cell." And they're all on YouTube. Just type in "The Fly Lawyer."
Yes. And I must say, man, the music, the quality, the writing, the directing, everything is top level.
Yes. And I have to give credit to Stunner because when we think about these songs, he knows my vibe. So therefore he knows exactly what I'm looking for.
Yeah. All right. So what was the transition, if there was any at all, really, from being a professional attorney, obviously a judge, and decided, you know what, I also want to tap into the entertainment industry, and I also noticed you want to keep that urban flair.
Yes.
What was the transition like?
Well, let me tell you, I don't know if you know, I used to be the Bentley lawyer before I became the Fly Lawyer.
Yeah, I've heard.
And so let me tell you, I was the Bentley lawyer for about 2 years. Okay. I had Bentley on everything, in my jackets, on my billboards. And one day I got a cease and desist letter. Let me tell you, I knew it was coming. Okay, I said, I'm gonna ride this Bentley lawyer for as long as I can. So it lasted.
But hey, you caught the attention. You caught the attention of some high folks, man. But go ahead.
But I said I'm gonna ride it out. So for 2 years, the Bentley lawyer was just working. So when I got the cease and desist letter, I said, "Okay, Jackie, now you need to do something that could be yours forever." I do my best thinking at about 3 a.m. So I woke up at about 3 a.m. I said, "Well, Jackie, what new name would you like to be?" So I said, "You wear nothing but red bottoms. You wear nothing but a Rolex, Hermes. You wear nothing but Keith and James hat. You wear nothing but Miguel Wilson collection. Wow. You've got over 250 pairs of red bottoms." I said, "You're a fly." So the next day, I went and reserved the Fly Lawyer.
Yeah.
And now that name is trademarked in the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office in Washington, D.C. So no one in America can legally call themselves the Fly Lawyer other than me.
Other than you. Now you're in the position to send a letter if
absolutely. Okay. Well, I wouldn't even have to send a letter because no lawyers as fly as me.
That is true, man. Listen, guys, if you have never seen this gentleman outfit, and of course you can go on YouTube, and of course if you watching the beginning of the video, see the video with Mr. Patterson. This guy is what they call fly from the shoe all the way up. From the shoe that you wear. Well, I gotta ask you, I saw your name on the shoe. Did you put that on there, or how does that work?
Yes, let me tell you. Christian Louboutin himself, on my 108th pair, he came to Georgia and personally signed my 108th pair because he knew how much of a fan I was of red bottoms. So now I'm on that 254th pair. So but that's how he signed my name on my 108th pair.
Wow, man. So wow. I never heard that before, honestly.
Yes, I personally met Christian Louboutin. He came to Georgia. He took my shoe, took it to his hotel room, and then brought it back to me and presented it to me.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. All right. So obviously, like I said, you got the shoe, you got the socks. You know, you also have brand ambassador as well, because the suits you wear, the hat you wear. Let's talk about. Correct. Let's start from the top down. So the hat, it's a designer hat that you always wear. Never seen you. I've seen a picture once. I think that's when you were the judge or when in the courtroom. Obviously, you can't wear a hat. That's correct. Yeah. But I'm not talking about the hat. Who's the designer behind that hat?
The hat is by the one and only Keith James. Yeah. They're commonly called red bottom hats, but the official name is Keith and James. Keith and James started his hat company out of his car, believe it or not, the trunk of his car. Yeah. He's a wonderful guy from North Carolina. Grew up in the country, but he kept his country roots, got a great heart. He started selling out of his car, and all of a sudden he got a contract with Neiman Marcus. He started doing it online, and then he ended up with 3 to 4 locations, Phipps Plaza, LA, New York. He just had a number of stores. Yeah. So when I met Keith, his name is James Keith, believe it or not, but he made his hat company Keith and James. Yeah. But his name is James Keith. And so when I met him, I was so impressed with the hats, I started buying them back to back. And one day he said, "Man, you have got to be my ambassador." So I've been the only ambassador in the history of his company, which is almost 8 years. I am the only ambassador to Keith and James.
Wow. All right. So we got you with the hat, that the ambassadorship. Is that right word to use for your hat? Yes. Let's talk about the suit. The suit is I got it written down here. From,
Miguel Wilson collection.
Miguel Wilson collection. How that came about? Because before Miguel, you were with someone else.
Yes, I don't want to name that. I don't want to name that company.
With a different brand. Yeah.
Right. I was with another brand. Yeah. But let me tell you, Miguel Wilson used to see me out and about. He would say, "Hey, Jackie, let me try one suit for you. Let me make one shirt." And I would avoid him, to be honest with you, because I don't know. I just avoided him for some reason.
Yeah.
He never did anything wrong. I just said, "I'll come see you at some point."
Yeah. Well, so, I think maybe because you were already involved with the other brand.
Yes. And I try to stay loyal.
Yeah.
And so finally one day when I was at the Bentley dealership, I saw this jacket on a mannequin. And I said, "Who made this jacket?" It had the Bentley logo, because I was the Bentley lawyer back then. It had the Bentley logo on it. And the guy said, "Miguel Wilson collection." I said, "Wait a minute. That's the same guy that's been." So I left the Bentley dealership, went straight to Miguel Wilson. He made me my first suit. And now that's the only thing that I wear. And I'm also his ambassador.
Wow. Well, let me ask you this, man. What's so special about his suits that you like so much?
Well, they're so custom to where there's no room. When you move, it fits and moves every part of your body. There's no slack anywhere. So whether it be the length of the legs, the length of the sleeves. For an example, I always like for my Rolex and my Hermes to show. Yeah. So he always makes them a cut above that. And the quality of the material, he never gets it wrong. And the inside of my jackets have my logos and things like that. So he never gets it wrong. So I got so addicted to where he made me his ambassador. Because for an example, just last week, I just picked up another 8 shirts and another suit. And then while I was there, I ordered 2 more suits and 6 more shirts. So, he made my flyness to a different level.
Yeah, different level. Okay, and the socks. Who makes the socks?
Believe it or not, the socks came from London. It's a sock company called London Socks. They do customized socks.
Okay, so that's the name.
That's where they came from.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice. But I tell you one thing, man. When you step into a room, you definitely got an attention. I can tell you that, man.
Thank you.
Suits alone, and not only that, to be honest with you, man, I've never met you obviously in person, but like I said, I did a lot of research. I like to do research on people. Because a lot of time I don't write questions down, so I just go for knowledge and just mutual conversation.
Absolutely.
But what I've seen, the posts I've seen, you when you step into a place, and I like the fact your name, you introduce yourself as the Fly Lawyer, so it's pretty obvious you're an attorney. So right there, you're marketing yourself two ways with one shot.
Absolutely. So when I go to court, the judges don't use my first and last name anymore. They'll say, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the defendant is represented by the fly lawyer. And then the jury looks like, oh, he's definitely fly. So I'm already one leg up. I'm one leg up on the prosecutor.
Yeah, man. That's what I feel like, man. You very thoughtful. It's genius.
And let me tell you one of the things the prosecutor did that had never happened to me before, but it backfired on the prosecutor. And what happened, the prosecutor knew that I had a big social media following. Yeah. So he asked the juror, it was about 35 jurors. Yeah. He said, has any of you ever heard of a social media Instagram called The Fly Lawyer? Yeah. And out of those 35 people, 20 of them raised their hand.
Yeah.
So I was stunned because that caught me by surprise. So he asked every one of them, how do you know The Fly Lawyer? Yeah. One of them said, well, I listen to his music. I know he's a rapper. Yeah. One of them said, I see his billboards. So unfortunately, he couldn't strike all of those jurors because you only get 6 strikes in a misdemeanor. Yeah, and so they found my client not guilty because I already had a leg up.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, man, you're definitely very thoughtful, man. Very strategic.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So obviously now you're at a certain level, as you would say. You're big in the entertainment space. Everyone knows you, the Fly Lawyer. Moving forward, where do you see yourself? What are the major things you have in store?
I have to tell you, the things that I've done in the past, I've been so satisfied with them that if I remain the Fly Lawyer for the next 50 years, but I do plan to make another 50 or 60 songs going forward. So my career now is to continue to represent people accused of a crime, people that get police brutality by police officers, because I do civil rights as well, and I do car accidents. So my goal for the next, I plan to live to 120. So my goal is to do just that till I'm 120, and then make more music as part of my marketing. So there's nothing else, believe it or not, that I desire to do, because I'm extremely happy as to where I am in life. And if I stay at this level, I've been blessed.
Yes, very, very much so. So let me ask you a question in reference to being a defense attorney in Atlanta. It's a big urban area. What's some of the challenges you would say that you see in that community, in the Atlanta community, as far as legal defense?
Unfortunately, the black on black crime. That's I think that's everywhere in America, not just Atlanta. It's in small towns, it's in big towns. We've got to do a better thing or find a better way of communicating with each other. If you notice, when a black person kills a black person, there is no outrage. Yeah. There's none. If a white person or a white officer kills a black person, you've got outrage. We should have just as much outrage as when a black person kills a black person than when a white person kills a black person. So the black on black crime, it's been my whole career. And I just hope that it gets better. We've got to learn to put guns down. We've got to learn to stop this domestic violence. Domestic violence is just out of control. Yeah. So I'm hoping as we move forward that people will get together and say, let's talk this out versus shooting this out.
Yeah. Is there anything you would change looking back of over 32 years as an attorney? Obviously, I don't know your age. I wouldn't guess.
I'm 64.
64. All right, 64. So 64 years young. As you look back, is there anything you would change, or you would do anything different, or if you had, say, hey, I should have did this, or maybe.
And you'll find out when you ask me a question, I'm a very honest lawyer. Yeah. So no matter how it comes out, I'm going to be honest with it. But if I had to do anything over in my life, I would have never cheated on my ex-wife, who happens to be my best friend. We've been best friends now. We've been divorced 23 years. Yeah. When I had COVID, I lived with her for 6 months. She took care of me for 6 months. Wow. She's had my back since the day we ever got a divorce. And she's my best friend. So I'll tell anybody that if you're married, one act of infidelity can change the whole course of your life. I'm fortunate that although she divorced me, she never divorced her love for me.
Yeah.
And so we are like brothers and sisters. I'll do anything for her. She'll do anything for me. But if there was anything I ever had to do over, I would have never cheated on my ex-wife.
Wow. That's real right there, man. I think I've did a lot of interviews in my time. I don't think I've ever had a guest that honest and forthright. Definitely appreciate that, man. That's definitely a message for a lot of us, man.
And I'm just fortunate that she's been in my corner ever since.
Yeah.
In fact, last Mother's Day, every Mother's Day, I always do a big shout out to her on Instagram. And I've been doing that for many, many years. And last year, I gave her a matching Fly Lawyer chain. And she started crying. She just loved it. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming you never remarried after that.
Not at all. I've been single, been dating, been having a great time. But the reason why I've been having so much fun dating is because I've never had issues from my ex-wife, and my kids have never missed out on me or their mother.
Yeah. But a man like you date in Atlanta. How's that working out for you, man? I mean, everybody know who you are.
It's been amazing. I'll admit. I tease people. I crack jokes too now. I do crack jokes. Okay. People say, well, what is your age range that you date, right? Yeah. And I said, my age range is simple.
Yeah.
It's between 30 and 30. They said, well, what does that mean? I said, they got to be twins.
See, I came with you, man.
I said, they got to be twins.
I came with you, man. I came with you.
But I've been fortunate in all of my dating. And because I've been honest. See, guys have to understand when you're on the single level and you're dating, if you're honest with a woman, in other words, if a girl asks me, hey, are you dating? I'll say yes, several. And then once you specify several and you don't give them any other impression that we're going to date and have a great time, then you don't have those issues. So I've never had those kind of issues in the 23 years I've been single.
Yeah. Well, I'll take that tip, man. I'll make sure I write it down. Thanks. I appreciate it. All right. You're a big sports fan. Folks, we're gonna put it out there. So when I first reached out to you, or you reached back on to me, I got so excited. I'm like, wow. I think it was like last Sunday. I was like, let's do it today. And he was like, no. You actually sent me a voice, which I really appreciate it, though. I really, really appreciate the communication. You're very, if I send you a message, you send right back. I really appreciate that. But you're a big fan of the Falcons.
Yes. And I'm glad we have an off day today. Yeah. And because we need a bye week because we've lost the last 2 games. So I keep telling everybody they need to bench Kirk Cousins and put in Michael Penix, our number 1 pick.
You like Kirk Cousins though?
Kurt is okay, but when he have a bad day, he's got a bad day. He's got a really bad day. But see, when you get to the playoffs, you can't afford to have a bad day.
True.
Yes. True. But right now we're still leading our division, so I'm gonna give him a pass as long as we're leading our division.
Yeah. So we're looking at Super Bowl?
I think we'll make it to the NFC Championship at least.
Yeah.
I think we'll at least go that far.
Okay. Nice. Well, Mr. Lawyer, man, Mr. Fly Lawyer, make sure you get official. The Fly Lawyer. Any last things you want to say before we wrap it up?
Just want my Instagram is the Fly Lawyer. My YouTube is the Fly Lawyer. I do criminal defense, personal injury, and police brutality. And I just want everybody to know that if they're fighting that case, make one phone call, and the Fly Lawyer is coming through. And make sure you go to any music platform and put in the Fly Lawyer, and you keep you out that sale. Fly Lawyer sauce, Maybach, Rolls Royce. Come to the Fly side, and coming up in the next few weeks, you'll be getting the Fly Lawyer. I'm him, featuring Stunner.
Featuring Stunner. The Fly Lawyer, really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. And look forward to next time I'm in Atlanta, I'm gonna hit you up, see what's going on, and maybe we can meet together.
We'll do it, and then I'll let you decide if you want to ride in the Maybach or the Rolls Royce.
Well, I'm gonna hold it to that now. I'm gonna hold it to that, man.
And make sure you have a great one. I really enjoyed it.
All right, boys. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, nice. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that was the man himself, the Fly Lawyer out of Atlanta, Georgia. I tell you, man, his story is so very, 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 very inspiring. Wow, that's all I can say. So once again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for sharing. And of course, the AlonzoBash podcast is now available on all platforms. So I'm very much excited about that. Let's start this. You're gonna say, "Hey Siri, play AlonzoBash podcast," and boom, there you go. So you're on Amazon, on Apple, on Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. You know, also on YouTube as well. So wherever you listen to your podcast, make sure and subscribe and follow. So once again, guys, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Make sure and follow me on social media platforms as well at AlonzoBash. And I'll see you guys, on the next episode. Thank you so much.